Any drummer who isn't ambidextrous has at some point or another experienced the frustration of a weak hand. That hand that just won't play as smoothly, cleanly, or accurately as the other. We practice with it constantly, and even after all the repetitive motion and all the time spent, it's just not executing as well as our other dominant hand. Today, I'm going to give you a really weird tip that actually works really well toward improving your weak hand's ability to play well. As a matter of fact, we'll talk about a lot of ways to improve your weak hand and even out your hands altogether. So, without further ado, let's fix that weak hand. Hey everybody, welcome to the Non-Glamorous Drummer, where we talk about all the non-glamorous tips and tricks of the trade and ways to become a better drummer. So if that's you and you're new to the channel, I really hope you'll subscribe and join this community. So the reason I call this a weird tip is because it doesn't actually involve practicing more. It's very possible that you've repetitively practiced this weak hand over and over and over again and gotten more and more frustrated, and you feel like you're even working backwards and you're just not getting anywhere. My advice here is actually stop doing that and work on this method I'm going to tell you here that doesn't involve practicing. So I took a lesson from a really good teacher one time, and we were talking about this issue. I'm left-handed, by the way, and so living in a right-handed world, I've kind of become a little bit ambidextrous in certain ways, and I play drum set right-handed. But I was actually having a little bit of trouble with my right hand, and my left hand was doing fine. And so we started talking about this. And something that he told me that I thought was really bizarre and really interesting, he said, take your weak hand and just use it more often in everyday life. You know, like any time that you would normally reach out and do something with your dominant hand, reach out with your weak hand instead. So in a way, you're getting your brain used to using that hand more often. So I thought, well, that's really weird, but I'm gonna try this out and see if it helps. Sure enough, it did, and my right hand began to really smooth out a lot and play better. My right hand, being my weak hand, began to even out with my left hand so that both of my hands were capable of playing the same thing. So here's my advice to you. Open doors with your weak hand. Any opportunity you get, instead of, reaching out with your right hand like you might normally if you're right-handed, make a point to grab the door handle or whatever with your left hand instead. Lift or carry things with your weak hand. Try eating with your weak hand. That can be a challenge. I would say try writing with it also, but your writing might not be legible that way. My writing is barely legible with my dominant hand, so I probably should never try to write with my weak hand. But you can give that a try and just sit there and practice, and I mean, that's a great thing to do. Use your phone with your weak hand. So that's a big one. And a lot of times we have dominant ears too. We prefer to put our phone up to one ear more than the other. But maybe when you're texting or you're just scrolling or something on your phone with your thumb, try using your weak hand for that. And anytime you're like outside throwing a frisbee or throwing a ball, throwing a football, whatever, any kind of sports thing, try doing that backwards than what you're used to. Try throwing a frisbee with your left hand, throwing a ball with your left hand, catching with your left hand. Try catching with your left hand and getting just as good at doing those things with your left hand as with your right. The ultimate goal in doing these things is to establish a stronger brain connection with that weak hand. Because the issue is that probably all your life you've worked a bunch with your dominant hand, probably your right hand, your left hand's just gotten left out. So even if the fingers are working there and you've got the strength that you need to play, well, because you haven't specifically used that weak hand for the fine motor skills and like fine actions, whether it's writing or eating or using your phone or whatever, doing that will establish a stronger brain connection and make it much easier for that hand to operate in a finer manner when you're playing drums. Now, that alone won't be enough to just magically fix everything, but that I think will end your frustration with just not getting anywhere as you're practicing. So make an effort to do all those things and establish a better brain connection with your weak hand. Then from there, continue practicing just like you were with, working up that weak hand, spending time maybe playing things left hand lead, just focusing in on that hand and you're practicing. Some specific things: practice singles left hand lead, practice doubles left hand lead. You can even practice playing fills backwards. Start on the floor tom and work your way up. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left. So it's a left hand lead fill, starting down on the floor tom, working your way backwards. Feels really weird, but it's encouraging your left hand to lead, and it's just going to improve it. And if you want to get really crazy, you can even set up the kit backwards and play lefty. Also, watch your hands carefully as you're practicing. Maybe you're just playing a basic right hand single or you're playing doubles. Work on making that left hand look like that right hand. Say you've got your right hand technique down and it looks great. Focus on making your weak hand imitate your dominant hand. I spent a lot of time doing that, just getting my hands to look the same and noticing what my dominant hand was doing well that my weak hand needed to learn better. You can greatly improve this and make this easier to do by practicing in front of a mirror or by filming yourself. Filming yourself is the best thing. Set up a camera, film your technique and what you're doing there so you know specifically what needs to change, what habits you need to break, what habits you need to learn, etc., to get your hands looking the same. So maybe you've been practicing these very things, working on getting your weak hand up to speed with your dominant hand. Continue doing that. Keep working on that. But I challenge you to make a point to use that weak hand more often in everyday life, because I guarantee that's going to improve things. This is basically a brain rewiring in a way, because we're teaching our brain to work more with the other side of our body, which means the other side of our brain. So we're just doing things we haven't done before. It's really just like learning anything, like how to throw a ball or how to, you know, hit a baseball, throw a frisbee, whatever. You're just relearning it with the opposite side of your brain, opposite side of your body. And if you can improve those fine motor skills, it will translate to your playing. So I really hope that these tips and techniques helped you out. And I'd love to hear your input, your experience with this. Maybe you've heard the same advice. Maybe you've worked on these exact things. I'd love to hear your story. And if you're brand new to hearing this advice, I would love for you to go implement this and work on these things and then follow up. Let me know later if these things worked for you. If you found that using your left hand more often helped it to play drums better, because that's awesome, that's cool. I want to hear that these tips are working for you. So follow up with me later. Guys, as always, thanks for watching, and a big thanks to my subscribers. You guys are awesome. There's so many of you now. It's been really cool watching the channel grow. So thanks for your support and for watching my videos. I hope to continue bringing you guys solid, non-glamorous content that helps you out in your playing and gives you the tips and tricks that you need to become a better drummer. So thanks so much, guys, and I will see you next week.